everyone, today I'll be reviewing this brand new Netflix original movie just dropped. It's called The Pale Blue Eyes, and this movie is starring Christian Bale, Harry Melling, and this movie is directed by Scott Cooper. So I saw a little bit of this movie trailer before I saw this movie, so I didn't have a high expectation from this movie. If I'm being honest here, this movie really surprised me because this movie, I don't know, for some reason at first I was thinking it's going to be a Western movie or something because the way Christian Bale he dressed up in this movie in the trailer. But this movie is actually a murder mystery movie. This movie takes place in 1885 in New York City, and this movie centers around Christian Bale, who plays this detective. Like, he's a veteran detective, and he calls in for this brutal murder happening in this cadet, and in that cadet he all these people, all this young cadet being murdered, so he get calls there and he need to solve this murder mystery. Although at first he's like, do I have a choice, can I say no to this job? But he can't. So also in this movie we see this detective, he has this kind of sad past, like his daughter, in this movie we hear that she ran away or something. So we see this dark past this detective in this movie. Then we later on in this movie we also meet this Edgar Allan Poe, who is this famous writer, and we meet him in this movie. He is this young cadet who is trying to help Christian Bale's character to solve this murder mystery. So this movie, it is a murder mystery, and the reason for me to like this movie, at first I was like, oh, not gonna like this movie. I had this attitude. While this movie isn't perfect, I'm saying by any mean, because some places this movie does drag a lot. It is very slow-paced type murder mystery, and the murder mystery itself, I feel like it isn't as great as it should have been. The execution for this movie is not always great. Overall, murder mystery isn't that good. However, where this movie works here is all the performance in this movie is really very good. Also, this movie cinematography, the atmosphere this movie creates for its audience, all the costumes, everything else, overall this movie does looks really good. This is an atmospheric movie, and all the characters are really interesting. Christian Bale, he's interesting. Of course, he's really good in this movie. But of course, Harry Melling in this movie playing young Poe, he's absolutely amazing. He slowly grows on to you. Like, this is one of those performances. He's really good. He's really leave lasting impression on the audience mind. I felt, I was like, oh, at first he was like this annoying cadet he's giving to, but as we learn more about him, he was really very interesting character. Although some people are saying he didn't do good job as a young Poe, then again, I think as a movie versus this character, I think he did justice the character he was playing in this movie. Although I don't know how this writer was in real life, but of course his writing is world famous. So I don't know how that writer is in real life. But I think in this movie, young Poe, I think Harry Melling, he did absolutely amazing job. But also in this movie, there is some other interesting character too. Like, this movie throughout introduces all this character. I felt like all of them are really good. Gillian Anderson, she was in this movie. She was this mom. I thought she was really very interesting. Oh, I'm forgetting her husband name. He was also good. Toby Jones, he was really good. All the character in this movie, they are really, all of them had a lot of layer, and all the performance in this movie really elevate this movie to up here for me. If that means everybody gonna like this movie, I can already see some people are bored watching this movie. As I was saying, the murder mystery itself, it isn't very interesting or creative, I will say. And the twist end of this movie, I thought, I don't know if I love that twist, but it was interesting that they added, I thought. It does explain, because throughout the movie I was thinking why Christian Bale he's acting this way, his character, but it did explain why he was that way. Overall, this movie, it was very interesting for me, and I am someone, I thought really I'm gonna be bored watching this movie. But as this movie isn't perfect by any means, but as it goes on, it really goes on to its audience, and end of it, I think this movie is okay. Well, it's not great, it's really could have been great if the writing was much better than what it was, but I think still this movie It was a really interesting watch for me. If you didn't look, I understand. And that was my thought on this. Let me know in the comment, what do you think about this movie? If you enjoyed my this review, don't forget my other reviews on other Netflix movie. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe. Until I see you next time, please take care.